Let's talk Cowboys and Packers, shall we? Because we have all week long. Jake Kemp of Sportsradio 1310 The Ticket joins me now. Jake, it seems like the one player everybody's talking about with this matchup is Aaron Rodgers, not just because he's a big name who's won a Super Bowl, but the run that he's been on these last several games. How concerning should Cowboys fans be about what Aaron Rodgers is capable of doing?
Well, I think you should be pretty concerned, and I think basing too much off that Week 6 game in which the Cowboys pretty much shut him down I would be worried about putting too much into that. That was one of the worst games Rodgers has ever played. While the Cowboys did get some pressure in that game, if you go back and watch, he was missing several open throws. I'm not saying that if he plays a great game that the Packers win, but I think it would have been closer. But I also think the Cowboys secondary is better now than when they played the Packers in Week 6. So I would be concerned, but I think I would flip it and say that the best way to stop Aaron Rodgers is, it's cliche, but it's to keep him off the field. You keep him off the field by replicating that offensive performance they had in Week 6, which was essentially just setting the tone on the ground and dictating the terms of the game. They're going to have to do that to limit Rodgers' effectiveness.
I think, and you bring up a really good point, I think one of the things that I do draw from that first matchup at the beginning of the season is that they were controlling the game so well. It was 30 points, and the offense has gotten more sophisticated. The rushing attack has gotten a heck of a lot better. Time of possession has also been strong. And to me, you can look at that and go, okay, I don't see how that's going to change just because Aaron Rodgers seems to be stepping it up a little bit.
You know, I feel that way going forward, not even just for this game. I feel that way about the next few years because I think the Cowboys are somewhat an anomaly in that they're a dominant offensive team in 2016, 2017 in the NFL that's built on the ground. And I think in the cap era, which I think is important to qualify if you're talking about personnel because it's the restriction on building it, I don't know that there's ever been a better offensive line in the cap era. You have the best offensive line, and then you have a transcendent running back. That doesn't seem to come and go to me. A quarterback can get cold. Receivers can drop passes. I'm not sure that your run game, whenever it's built like that, just leaves you all of a sudden.
In terms of possibly leaving you, on the other hand, let's talk about those rookies, Dak and Zeke. First playoff game. Do you feel like nerves, jitters could come in some way, shape, or form with them?
You know, I don't at all. And one, I think it helps being at home, but I wouldn't even really feel that concerned about it if they were on the road. They may have pretty different personalities, but I think that they both lead them to the same thing, which is that they're both gamers. They played in huge games in college, one from a quarterback in the SEC and a big-time running back in the Big Ten. You know, Dak may be that stoic type, and Elliott is a little bit more of a, jubilant, but I think that it arrives at the same place, which is that I don't think they're affected by game circumstance at all. I think, if anything, the thing that worries me about the Cowboys offense is if they panic. If they get down 10, 13, 14 to Aaron Rodgers, and he's dealing, let's say he's 9 of 10 in 2 drives, then their offense gets out of rhythm. They perhaps panic. They get away from what they do. That concerns me a lot more than any sort of, mental
kind of like
issues.
what they did in the second game against the Giants.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what most teams do against Dallas. I mean, most teams, when they get down against Dallas, you'll see them scrap their playbook. And I think if the Cowboys coaching staff stays consistent, I'm not worried about Elliott or Prescott really at all, especially with that offensive line. I think that the fact you have veterans up there that are so good at their jobs, I think it lifts everybody else up. And they don't even really allow you to think of the idea that our offense might not be running on all cylinders here. I'm not worried about the rookie factor really at all.
In terms of the health of the Cowboys, boy, it seems like it's coming on at just the right time. And I've always felt like that this defense really can be something with Mo Claiborne now that he seems to be on the mend, especially when you've got Sean Lee as your middle linebacker. They didn't have that luxury in 2014. You put all these things together, and maybe this defense isn't so bad after all.
Yeah, they don't have any of the big names. I think that's why you draft a guy like Gregory, is you think he can become that dominant pass rush type. But even the guys that they've paid, Crawford is a guy that I'm betting most NFL fans don't even know the guy's name, even though he's signed to a contract here. Sean Lee's coming along a little bit. Obviously, making the All-Pro team says one thing. I think not making the Pro Bowl says another. I think probably I'm most excited this Sunday for the fact that Sean Lee's playing in his first playoff game. That doesn't seem to compute, but it is the case. And if Mo returns to form, even let's say 80% of what he was before he went out, all of a sudden they're a very deep defense. They've got a number of guys that can go after you in the secondary. I trust Mo at this point of his career much more than I ever have before. So, they don't have any big names. They may just be average, but they really only have to be average because they see the second fewest plays per game of any team in the NFL.
Who's winning Sunday?
You know what, I think I'm going to take Dallas just by, I'll make the homer 38-35 call. It feels like the type of game where the team who has the ball last probably comes away with the W. And I think if you're a team that dictates the terms of the game, you can probably control who has the ball last a little bit easier than if you're a pass team. But I just to reiterate, if the Cowboys get down 13-14, as explosive as their offense is, I would just continue to call the same game. Just continue to run the ball, and don't be too obsessed with this control the clock thing. I think if there's big plays there, you go back to the game against Green Bay. There was they get the ball back with a minute and a half. Here's a lucky Whitehead end around, and now here's Bryce Butler down the sideline. And that game was over at half because of that last drive.
I think one of the things that I completely disagree with in terms of the chatter on the street with the Cowboys. If this game gets into a shootout, I mean, you can't win against Aaron Rodgers. No, I think the Cowboys would like a shootout. If they get into a shootout, I think it's advantage Dallas because of what this dynamic offense can do.
I think a lot of times when people talk about shootout, they only are thinking pass. But the Cowboys can get into a shootout where they're running the ball, and now they've got the ball. And if you talk health of the Cowboys defense, the Packers for years now have experienced incredible poor luck, or however you want to attribute it on the defensive side of the ball in particular. Clay Matthews is banged up. Peppers has got a couple plays a game left in him. Their corners cannot cover Dallas. They are beat up. Cole Beasley had 6 for, I think, 58 and 2 touchdowns in the Green Bay game in Week 6. Micah Hyde cannot cover Cole Beasley in the slot. There's no reason Beasley can't shake loose for another 60 to 70 yards in this game. And if Beasley's getting that done, then that means pretty much everything else is working.
Dez Bryant, 100% this time for the second matchup. Jordy Nelson, yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, Jake Kemp, Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket, and he is no puppet. And I'm Edward Egros, Fox 4 Sports.